Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Mortgage Coach Weekly Coaching Call. Every Tuesday, 9 o'clock Pacific, the industry's best sales meeting. Here at Mortgage Coach, we are totally dedicated to both your professional success and your personal success. The values that Mortgage Coach was founded on are the concept of wowing. As most of you guys know, the actual company name is Wow Tools. So surpassing expectations is just part of our fabric. Simplicity, helping you guys deliver advice in simple ways, and excellence. Joe Patura, the president of our company and the leader of our product strategy, has just brought an entire, excellence to the table. So when you really think about the Mortgage Coach mission, we believe that buyers and realtors should be helping home buyers make confident decisions with total cost transparency. Mortgage Coach helps mortgage pros and realtors educate families with mobile technology that powers confident decisions. So this is something I worked on over the weekend, really just getting clear for our organization internally and helping you as a Mortgage Coach community understand the values that drive our how, that drive the results. And at the end of the day, they're confident decisions when making big mortgage decisions, and when buying your dream home, it's a big deal. What we do is a big deal. I want to thank all the Mortgage Coach friends that have reached out to me in different ways. We posted this on our Facebook page yesterday. I urge Mortgage Coach, everybody on this call, if you like what we're doing, share this within your organization and let us know. Help us get the word out and evangelize the Mortgage Coach mission, which is just powering confident decisions for buyers, agents, and families who are buying homes. So we do this call every Tuesday for anybody that's new to the call. Every Thursday at 9, we do a training getting into the details of execution. And every Friday, we do a beginner's call. This call will be recorded. It will be posted within an hour. I mean, it comes up fast, and we have hundreds of people that watch these. For our first guest today, we've got a return guest, Hal. Hal, you've had, not only did a lot of people love your call, a lot of people have watched the call. We made a quick hit out of it. We thought it was just like 6 minutes of awesomeness, and we've already had about 247 people watch that, and I've had a couple sales managers talk about how they're sharing this at sales meetings to get everybody started earlier. So lots of impact, brother.
Very cool, man. I'm grateful for that.
Good. Well, hey, guys, we're going to bring Hal in. He's going to do a really tight, lean, 10-minute teaching, taking things to the next level. The other special guest today, we have one of our close partners, Mike Gulitz, the founder, the owner of Mortgage Planner CRM, one of the first CRM to really integrate in a tight way. A lot of the nation's best loan officers use this platform, and Mike, there's not a whole lot of teachers and leaders that have trained loan officers to have better CRM habits. So we get a lot of questions, about different CRMs, and Mike's going to provide some leadership around, what are the important criteria to be a CRM leader, how to make decisions. So, Mike, good to have you. Looking forward to your teaching.
Thanks, Dave.
Good. So, a couple quick success stories, before we bring in Hal. Again, a little bit of inspiration. When you think of how most loan officers deliver mortgage advice, it's no different than it was before the meltdown in 2007. And by the way, when you look at that fee worksheet, that's the same thing as 1997. And heck, that was probably the same thing we did in 1992. And so many loan officers are still doing the same thing today that they were doing, a decade or so ago. So when you really look at the trends, this was a study that I've talked about before. Some of our friends have done videos, but this was a study by Google and the National Association of Realtors. Home buyers want videos. I mean, that's not a question. They want it. The question is, are realtors providing video leadership? Are they delivering advice in a modern way? Well, the answer is most aren't. Only 15% of realtors are. Most loan officers aren't. So it's an opportunity. So, one success story from a great Mortgage Coach loan officer with Churchill. This guy, he's not a mega producer, so he's still trying to get to that, that top producer mark, but he's doing the right things. And this is some feedback from a realtor after he delivered a video presentation. So if you are, in the point where you're trying to get to that top producer status and you bring a Mortgage Coach experience, wow, use of video is exactly what my professional coach has been telling me to do, and you're actually doing it, that's a good thing. So great success story. So like I said, only 15% of agents are delivering video. So the 15 that are, when you're a mortgage coach loan officer, they're going to love you. I mean, you're going to be their people. And by the way, the 85% that aren't, they know they should be. And now you're the loan officer bringing that value. So we've got this is a top producing loan officer, Josh Meadows. He's not only one of the most successful loan officers in America, he's one of the most well known. I mean, I don't want to speak to his production, but it's mega status. And he wasn't a mortgage coach user until recently, and he's going to be on an upcoming coaching call. I'm going to have him as a guest coming up. But this was a top realtor after sitting a mortgage coach experience. You know, really? This is the coolest, most professional thing I've ever seen. I'm loving it. So as we kick off today's call, it's everybody on this call, we share a common theme. We want to deliver value and advice to home buyers and realtors. We believe in doing that in a modern way, not doing it like we did 2 decades ago or even pre-2007. We want to do it in a modern way, but we're not always executing on what we want to do. We want to do one thing, but we're not getting it done. So I think this is a great segue to bring Hal in. Hal is going to talk about how to, take it to the next level and help you execute on some of your core goals at a higher level. So Hal, if you could, for anybody that wasn't on the last call, just maybe 1 minute framing, and then I know you've got a teaching to share.
Yeah. Thanks again for having me on, Dave. I really appreciate it. And for all of you listening, thank you for being here. I know you could be anywhere right now, so I know Dave appreciates it. I appreciate it. And the slides that you see right now, this is actually from my last presentation, which is my keynote presentation. And it was the first time I'd ever given it virtually, right? It's something that I typically give via, in person, on stage, in front of hundreds or thousands of people. So it was a challenge that Dave put up to me to say, dude, can you do this, your keynote on a webinar? I said, all right, let's go for it. So my background is as a Hall of Fame sales rep, and my new book, The Miracle Morning, was the main topic of our last call. I also shared my story of when I was 20 years old. I was hit head-on by a drunk driver at 70 miles an hour. I was dead for 6 minutes, broke 11 bones, came out of a coma 6 days later to find out I had permanent brain damage, and the doctor said I would never walk again, only to bounce back to eventually not only walk but become an ultra-marathon runner. And so that's a quick kind of up to speed on the last, synopsis of the last message that I gave. The premise of what I work on right now is the Miracle Morning. It's about taking your life to the next level by starting your day in the optimum way, putting yourself in a peak physical, mental, emotional, and logistical state so that you really win every day. And the research that I've done and that's shown people that wake up early, right? There's undeniable benefits of people that have a morning success ritual. So that's not what we're going to talk about today, though. Specifically, we're going to talk about, here you go, you can leave it on that slide right there. In fact, go back one slide, Dave, if you can. John Maxwell quote. This quote really is the premise of what we're going to talk about today. You will never change your life until you change something you do daily. The secret to your success is found in your daily routine. So it's been said that our quality of life is created by the quality of our habits. So if a person is living a successful life, then that person simply has the habits in place that are creating and sustaining their levels of success. Now that's true both personally and professionally. On the other hand, if someone is not experiencing the levels of success that they want, no matter what the area, they simply haven't committed to putting the necessary habits in place which will create the results that they want. Now, if you think about it, if you consider that our habits literally create our life, our quality of life, our success, there's arguably no single skill that is more important for you to learn and master than that of habits, implementing and sustaining the habits that you need or getting rid of the habits that are holding you back from achieving everything that you want in your life. So again, you've got to identify, you've got to implement, and you've got to maintain the habits that are necessary for creating the results that you want personally and professionally. Now, most of us suck at this, all right? No offense, but most of us are not good at changing our habits. In fact, most of us are very bad at it. And it's almost not our fault because we were never taught how to do it. Arguably the most important skill you could ever learn, yet I don't know about you, but I never got a class on this, right? There was never a class in high school or college for that matter on habit mastery although it should be the class, it's probably the most important class they could have at any high school in America, Habit Mastery 101. And if you want to look at, how people do it if you look at New Year's resolutions, right, that's a great example. Every year, millions of well-intentioned people make their New Year's resolutions, but statistically, less than 5% of us stick to them. Think about that, 95% failure rate. That's horrible. And if you think about it, a New Year's resolution is really just a habit, like exercising or early rising, that you want to incorporate into your life, or a negative habit like smoking or eating fast food that you want to get rid of. And if you've ever been to the gym on the first week of January, it's packed. You can't find a parking spot, right? By the second or third week, the lot has loosened up quite a bit because people have failed to stick to the habit. So if you want to go to the next slide. This is what I believe is the most effective strategy and mindset to implement and sustain any new habit. And now this specifically is a slide from the Miracle Morning 30-Day Challenge, but remove the Miracle Morning. This is really about living your life in 30-day challenges, where every single 30 days you identify at least one new habit that will make a significant impact in your life or a significant impact in your business, such as Dave talked about, using video. If you're not using video, I would make that my first 30-day challenge. And the problem with this is most people go in and, we've been taught it takes 21 days to implement a new habit, or Jay Papasan and Gary Keller in The One Thing talked about the Harvard study that said it was 66 days to implement a new habit. So my research, my experience, my experimentation has led me to this 30-day strategy to be very, very effective. I've done this with thousands of my coaching clients to great success. And here's the idea. If you go into your 30-day challenge knowing what to expect, then you can mentally and emotionally prepare to overcome the obstacles that will come your way during the habit implementation phase, and then you can succeed. Most people don't have any sort of strategy, so on day 5, when it's really difficult, they still don't like their new habit, they throw in the towel. So here's the 3 10-day phases that make up the mindset and the strategy here to successfully master habits. Days 1 through 10, that's the unbearable phase. Days 11 through 20, that's the uncomfortable phase. Days 21 through 30 is the unstoppable phase. And let me explain how each of these phases works so you know how to implement this strategy, you know what to expect, and you can set yourself up for success. The first 10 days of any new habit often feel unbearable, right? We use words like, I hate this, or I don't want to do this, or this is so hard, right? If it's exercise, for example, like when I was implementing my running, I was never a runner in my whole life. Decided I wanted to do an ultra marathon, 52 miles in one day, so I had to obviously train for it. Well, the first 10 days felt unbearable, right? My hips were aching, my whole body was aching. As I'm running, 1 minute into the run, I'm already out of breath, I've got no lung capacity. It felt unbearable. But let me ask you a question. If you've identified a habit that's a game changer in your business or a game changer in your life, but it's difficult for the first 10 days, can you do anything for 10 days if it's going to change your life or transform your business? Absolutely you can, right? We can do anything. The problem is if you're not aware that those 10 days are going to be difficult, then you're like most people where you throw in the towel on day 5 or 6 thinking it's an infinite amount of time, that you go, oh, the way this feels sucks. And if this is how the new habit feels, I can't do it. I'm not a runner, or I'm not an early riser, or you know what, I am a smoker, or you know what, I'm not comfortable recording video, right? Whatever it is. If you don't know that it's a finite period of difficult time, then you tend to throw in the towel. But if you know, okay, the first 10 days are going to suck, I can make it through that, I'm committed. Days 11 through 20 are the uncomfortable phase. Now, this still isn't a picnic. You're not excited at the uncomfortable feeling. However, you go from it being unbearable, where every fiber of your being resists, rejects, and defies the new habit, to going, you know what? It's not so bad anymore, but it's still kind of boring. I don't really like it. When I was running on day 11, 12, 13, right, I'm like, I still don't like running. Is this ever going to be easier? Is it ever going to be more fun? And granted, it was easier. It wasn't unbearable anymore, but it still wasn't enjoyable. And a lot of people give up during that time. The magic happens between days 21 and 30. And I'll explain how this works. For me, on day 22 or 23, I laced up my running shoes, and for the first time ever, unconsciously, I thought to myself, wow, I can't wait to go for a run today. And then my conscious mind caught up, and I went, whoa, 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 whoa. What the hell did I just say to myself? I can't wait to go for a run? Right, 10 days ago, I hated running. And now I'm excited to run. And that's why you become unstoppable, because you can learn to enjoy anything that you don't enjoy. You can learn to be proficient at anything that right now you might be terrible at, right? And you can learn to make anything a habit that right now might seem impossible for you simply through consistent repetition. And you'll get to the phase between 21 and 30 days where you wake up one day and you're looking forward to the new habit. And that's why I call it the unstoppable phase, because is it difficult to do something that you're actually looking forward to? Of course not. So when you're looking forward to it, you're unstoppable, because you know now, wow, this one thing that I hated a couple weeks ago, now it's part of who I am. It literally becomes part of your identity. I went from hating running to actually waking up one day and going, you know what? I'm a runner. And so many, tens of thousands of people have read The Miracle Morning, my book, and gone, I'm not a morning person. And then 21 days into it, 30 days into it, they're going, you know what? I am a morning person, right? That switch happens. So, Dave, I'm happy to open it up for Q&A or if you have any questions, but that's the general idea. Live your life in 30-day challenges. Start today to identify one habit. Like I said, I'd start with using Dave's video tool and make that the next 30 days, just commit to it. Know it's going to be difficult at first, even unbearable. Then it's going to be uncomfortable, but then you will become unstoppable, and it will change your life now and for the rest of your life.
Well, Hal, as always, really tight, really powerful message. I have interviewed hundreds of the nation's best loan officers. I've interviewed thousands of loan officers, but whenever I interview the best of the best, they have great habits. The way that they present to their customer is the best of the best. The way that they interview a borrower and create value is the best of the best. The way that they are managing their time, they're keeping their promises, using a CRM, it's the best of the best. So we've talked about a couple habits. Obviously, everybody, if you're on this call, you're a Mortgage Coach member. If you're using Edge but you're not giving a video to everybody, make that your goal. If you're on this call and you're a member but you're not delivering a Mortgage Coach presentation to every buyer that a realtor gives you, there's a habit. If you're on this call and you're doing those things, but you're not using your CRM at the most efficient level, Mike Gulitz in just a minute here is going to show you how to do that. And again, I'm committed to you professionally and personally, so I want to make sure whatever success is to you, that you're getting that and that these calls are valuable. So Hal, as always, thank you, my friend. I urge everybody to connect with Hal. This was the call to action that he put up last time he was on here. Make sure you go to his Facebook page. Hal, if you could do me a favor, put a post. We promoted this call on our Facebook page. Say something and give everybody a link to your Facebook page so everybody knows how to go and connect with you.
Okay. Where do you want me to go to the Mortgage Coach page and do that?
Yeah. Just add some value. Maybe add, tag me. Anybody who's on this call that's a friend of Mortgage Coach, make sure you're a friend of Hal's. He's a value creator.
I'll go there right now and do that.
Good. So before I bring in Mike, and Hal, feel free to stay on the call if you need to jump. Feel free to jump. But a couple reminders from last week or past weeks. This is just a big, huge idea. Is as you're creating Edge to win the loan, make sure you're using it to provide updates. So whether that's a change of circumstance, that's an approval, it's an annual review, we put a quick hit up there. So 4 minutes of content, and boom, you've got that teaching and that training, a great habit to get into. The Gaylord Hansen team and Danny shared a strategy on how you can, all your listing agents, how they can write you in, make sure that you're giving a second opinion to everybody that wants to make an offer on their property, and they're getting a 70% conversion rate, which is massive. It's crazy. It's huge. There's a 6-minute nugget on how you can do that. So some great ideas, some great reminders from previous weeks. So let's bring in Mike. I'm going to have Mike share the desktop. Mike, some of the folks on the call may know you from past calls. I know we have a lot of mutual customers, so a lot of these folks on this call are already your customers. But give us a little bit about your backstory and then walk us through the best practices of CRM.
Thanks, Dave. Let me see if you can see my screen yet.
I will tell you when I see it. I see the screen, and I now see you are in presentation mode, and you are rocking, my friend.
Outstanding. Well, thanks for having me on the call, Dave. I really enjoy our partnership, and I just got to give a shout out to Hal. That was a great warm-up, Hal. That's going to be a tough act to follow. But it does lend itself to the conversation and what I wanted to talk to you guys about today, because any new technology that you decide to incorporate into your business is going to have an adjustment period, and there's probably not a better metaphor than maybe running or going to the gym to compare what you're going to go through in the first 30 days when you adopt new technology into your business, whether it's CRM or, maybe when you guys first started using Mortgage Coach, you were building that new habit, you were working that new muscle, and I'm sure today for most of your users, Dave, that have gone through that, it's second nature. They just use Mortgage Coach as an extension of their business, but those first 30 days on any technology is going to be a challenge. So you've got to give yourself a break, and you got to give yourself time to adapt, and that will really lead to the success which comes through adoption of your technologies. What I'm going to talk to you guys about today is this isn't going to be a sales pitch. This is going to be mostly talking about the future roadmap of CRM. CRM's really evolved in the last couple of years, and it's really starting to evolve for the mortgage industry. I think we're a little bit late adopters in our industry for whatever reason. When I got into the mortgage business in 2003, I went to work for a company in San Diego that had 400 loan officers. They were doing about $4.5 billion in loan volume a year. They were mostly an A-paper shop, and I was a little bit shocked to learn when I got on board that they weren't using CRM, because coming from the technology space and prior to that, the medical sales industry, we lived and died by the CRM. I mean, it was so prevalent in our businesses that literally the first day of orientation, after you found out, where you sit, was here's your desktop, here's your CRM, and here's your telephone. And so for me to get into the mortgage industry in 2003 and have a very heart-to-heart conversation with loan officers who were not using CRM as a part of their business, it was a little bit shocking. So I had to take a step back and really think about what I was up against from a standpoint of running the sales and marketing platform for a company that large. So today, we've come into our own as a company. MPC, my company, develops CRM applications for the real estate, for the mortgage, and soon to be wealth management industries. We've been doing this for 8 years. Our company has been around for 10, and I'm going to share with you some ideas about the future roadmap of CRM and where I think it's going based on my knowledge, being in the space for nearly 20 years and working with mortgage professionals for the past 10. I'm going to go through a series of what I consider the pillars of CRM. These are things that I believe are constants in the CRM universe. I'm a CRM purist, so I speak about CRM from the fundamental CRM, the words customer relationship management, not just as a philosophy in your business, but as a specific acronym given to an industry within the technology space. And the top players in the CRM industry are Oracle, SAP, Salesforce, and Microsoft. Our particular platforms, our applications are built in the Salesforce environment, but those four companies really rule the CRM universe as it's known, and everyone else would be a second or a third tier provider by size and, of course, by annual revenue. So what I'm going to go through here in the next few steps is I'm going to talk about the 7 pillars of CRM, what I consider the things that are fundamentally core to having a CRM, and then I'm going to talk about 3 differentiators that can really allow you to take your business to the next level if they're a part of that CRM. I always start with tasks. Now, tasks, or otherwise known as a to-do list, are probably the most underestimated pillar within the CRM environment. But tasks have a tremendous amount of potential. Tasks, or your to-do list, are the smallest unit of work. So the more tasks that you efficiently manage and complete, either for yourself or as a part of a team, the more work you get done, the more money you make. Tasks, ideally within a CRM environment, should have time and date stamps. The purpose for that is to be able to go back and track the work. Tasks are the fundamental unit of reports. So if your manager or your team leader is asking for reports, these are all fundamentally going to start with a task. So as you complete tasks, your reports adjust according to the work that's being done. tasks need to be linkable. You need to be able to link the work you're doing to a contact. In our case, those will be leads, prospects, borrowers, and partners. So as you're doing work and as you're completing tasks or as you're setting up tasks, you need to be able to link those to your contacts. You need to be able to link those to accounts that you're working with, maybe Keller Williams offices, Coldwell Bankers, those large organizations in your affiliate marketing programs that have the financial planners that you work with and CPAs. You'll also want to be able to link your task to the loan transactions. So this is the way that drives your pipeline report, showing you your status, is knowing exactly what has been done and still what needs to be done for each and every loan that you're working. And, of course, tasks should be searchable. The reason that this one is so important is from a time management perspective. In the mid-'80s, IBM did a study on mid-level managers and discovered that the average mid-level manager spent 6 weeks per year searching for files. And this was in the age of filing cabinets and manila folders. You can only imagine with the volume of electronic files and digital files that we manage today, especially in the mortgage industry, that that's no longer 6 weeks. I've heard numbers from the American Management Association that top 12 weeks a year. And if you guys think about that mathematically, that is a year of payroll for every 5 employees if they're doing 11 to 12 weeks a year managing their files and their inbox. So we want our tasks to be searchable so we can find them. The task has the greatest potential impact on your business. And I say this with all the empathy in the world, because I know how difficult it is for a lot of people to get off of their paper systems and go completely digital. But if you take one thing away from the call today, and if you're still working on Post-it notes and you're working on legal pads, keep in mind that you have a tremendous potential to transform your business and your efficiency if you'll consider taking on electronic or digital tasking. In other words, working on your computer instead of taking notes and keeping things on your Post-it notes on your desktop. Now, the 5 elements of the perfect electronic or digital task are a definitive due date. You want to make sure that when you set up a piece of work, you put a definitive due date so you know you're drawing a line in the sand. I've got to get this done by then. You also want to put in, and this is one area that I see folks really, really struggle with, put in a detailed subject line. The lazy way of setting up a subject line would be to use the same nomenclature every single time. I'll give you an example. We use follow-up a lot. You get a lot of emails from people, follow-up or request, information needed. The detailed subject line, because it's a searchable item in most CRM technologies, that's your opportunity to place a label on that task. And you shouldn't be afraid to get as detailed as you want to on that subject line so that when you do a search, think of it as a sort of internal Google search for your search engine within your CRM that allows you to say, let me find the Jones refinance file. If you've labeled that task with a really good search or a really good subject line, it's much easier to find that data later on. Tasks would be you would be falling completely short with tasks if they were not assignable. Tasks being units of work means you want to be able to delegate tasks not only to yourself, but also to your transaction coordinator, your loan processing assistant, your processor, or any other team members that you might have on your team. When you assign the task, it gives you the ability to begin to track that information or track that work as it's going through your sales pipeline. Enterprise-level tracking includes being able to see the information as it's moving the reports along. So you're going to see status updates within your reports. You'll have dashboards on most CRMs. These will be the pie charts and the bar graphs. They're going to show you exactly where you're doing the things that you want to be able to track, like the number of refinances you did this quarter versus last quarter, then the percentage of your business that comes from your realtor partners. And you also want to be able to go and drill deeper into tracking with alerts. Now, a lot of people misuse alerts in a way that they'll put a reminder on every single task, every single appointment. And what ends up happening over time is we get that sort of boy who cries wolf effect, where you see those reminders pop up, and there's 12 of them popping up as soon as you log in the morning, and you just dismiss them all. If you learn to use your alerts on your tasks sporadically and infrequently, and you're almost stingy about them, when an alert does pop up, occasionally it will get your attention and you'll get the intended result. The second major pillar of the CRM universe.
Mike?
Can we go back? Yep.
Hey, I just want to ask you, is there, just noticing your best CRM folks, is there a kind of a right amount of alerts that you find that, less than 10, less than 3? Is there something you recommend as a best practice there?
Yeah, absolutely. Good question. When it comes to tasks, I always try to get my clients, because literally, if you're a top producing salesperson, either in the mortgage industry or like me in the software industry, you should be dealing with hundreds of tasks on a daily basis. And there's just no other way to say this, but that can be daunting and even a little depressing, logging in and just seeing that line of work that needs to happen every day. So what we've taught our clients for a number of years is to block tasks into no more than 10 at a time. So if you're working a list of 90 tasks, it's 8 o'clock in the morning, and most of those tasks are follow-up phone calls to push someone through the pipeline, lead to prospect, prospect to client, following up with the client, setting up your annual anniversary or your annual equity review so you can run your total cost analysis for them using Mortgage Coach Edge. Well, those calls are all going to be listed on the right. And as you go through your day and you're being bombarded with inbound requests, team member requests, and emails that are coming across, your phone is ringing, you're trying to get through that. Maybe some of you time block, some of you got other methodologies to get to your list. So when you're looking at that list of 90, if you block them into 10 at a time and you say, okay, for the next 90 minutes I'm going to block and I'm going to go through and make my calls, whatever it is, that need to hunt or that need to complete things, if we get into that mode where we're attacking 10 at a time and we take them away as chunks, you seem to get at maximum efficiency if you can eliminate the majority of your interruptions. For alerts, I try not to let more than 2 or 3 alerts come up for me at a time, if that's possible. So what I'm saying there is I'm going to prioritize out of my chunk of 10, I may prioritize those top 2 or 3 tasks and let those be alerts so that I don't miss my opportunity to finish those first.
Got it. So don't have more than 3 alarms going off at the same time, or you're overwhelming yourself, and try to and do things in chunks of 10 at a time. That's what I took.
Yeah, and the reason behind that is, no matter what you might believe about multitasking, and my wife would be the first one to disagree with me about this because she runs operations over here and she can do 15 things at once, most humans are set up to do one thing at a time. So it doesn't really do you any good to have 10 or 12 different things rolling at once. You're working at maximum efficiency if you can be focused and accomplishing one task after another. And CRM allows you to literally line those things up and just rip through them at maximum efficiency, because as you're completing tasks, you'll have the ability to also set up your next task.
Beautiful. Love it. One tip that I learned from Darren Hardy, who I've interviewed multiple times, and actually I'm talking to later on today, was just the concept of jam sessions. Create 90-minute jam sessions to get work done. And when it comes to crushing tasks in my CRM, I can't do that 90 minutes at a time, but I do it. I really fell in love with the whole TED concept of 20 minutes at a time, and I'm pretty ADD, so 20 minutes is even a long time. But I do my task in 20-minute sprints throughout the day, so just lock it down for 20 minutes, crush some tasks, move on. So, hey, sorry for sideswiping you there, but I thought that was a good sidebar. Thank you.
No, task is the most important thing that we ever talk about. It's just one of those things that most folks think they've got it really dialed in, and we found working with mortgage professionals that, believe it or not, that's one of the areas we can make the biggest impact in a quick period of time. And the reason why is because we can not only impact the individual loan officer, but if we take on task management from a team perspective, the return on investment for going from one person that's mastered tasks to 2 people to 3 people is not a 2 and a 3 times return on investment. It's literally an exponential return on investment. You can see a 10 times return on investment if you have 3 team members that dedicate and collaborate in a master of task environment. So I'll just leave you with that. The next big one, and this is huge because there's nothing else more valuable than our time, and the reason it has such a high value proposition for most of us is we can't create more of this. This is the one thing that slips through our fingers every day. So if we're not trying to figure out the way to be most efficient, then we're really losing out on those opportunities to maximize out our daily schedules. Now, some people call these events. Some people call them the schedule, the calendars, what I've seen. CRMs have different names that they use for this. But what I'm talking about is I'm talking about carving out a piece of time on your schedule or your calendar and dedicating it to a specific appointment or the specific set of activities. One of the things that I see people do that drives me absolutely crazy is they put their task in their calendar. And I can only tell you that's going the wrong way if you want to become more efficient. You want to use tasks for your to-do list. You want to use calendar for your appointments. And, there's some tricks here that can make you more efficient. One thing you want to make sure that your CRM calendar provides is multi-device accessibility. So you want to make sure that your calendar that you're viewing on your PC or your Mac, along with your tablet or your mobile device, has the same schedule, and they should synchronize in real time. The calendar should be a collaborative item within your CRM environment, meaning your team members, if you have them, and I encourage you to looking to take your business to the next level and you're looking for a very simple plan, is when you start getting to the point where you've maximized out your task and your calendar and you're starting to get into those 12 and 16-hour days, think about getting a scheduler for your business who helps manage your calendar and sets those appointments for those leads, prospects, clients, and partners in your calendar. That's one of the quickest ways to get to a team environment where you can duplicate and triple your volume. The third thing you want to think about is date and time options for the invitee. Some CRMs now offer you the ability to send out an invite and let the recipient choose between up to 5 different time and date options I've seen in some CRMs. You want to be able to synchronize in real time, or if it's cloud-based, it's not actually syncing, it's just happening. And wherever you're viewing that calendar, if it's refreshed, that new appointment's going to be on your calendar. That's super important in a collaborative environment because if you've got a scheduler like I've had, and I've been fortunate to have 1 or 2 schedules for the last 6 or 7 years in my business, I won't be stepping on my scheduler's toes. In other words, if I need to schedule something with Dave and I'm looking at 9 o'clock Pacific Standard Time for a Tuesday call and my scheduler's busy calling leads and she wants that time for somebody that wants to talk to me, we're not stepping on each other's toes and it's synchronizing in real time. And then here, I kind of pointed this one out before. If you're using your reminders sparingly and you kind of treat them like little nuggets of gold, then when a reminder pops up, and they'll pop up in your desktop, they'll pop up on your mobile device, then you'll know that that's going to grab your attention. So make sure that you've got those reminders intact. Did you have any questions there, Dave? Okay. Document storage. This one's going to be a big one. You guys are going to start hearing more and more about this. And I'm not talking about just plain old, let's upload a document and store it somewhere on your computer or in the cloud, as they call it. I'm talking about full-on document management. It's getting to the point now where we're seeing things done with documentation that we thought existed or we dreamed of years ago, but we're really starting to see it come into its own. Your CRM should have a functional capability for you to upload files. You should be able to upload images, and if it's a cloud-based system, you're going to be able to access those files from any device. So if you need to see it on your iPhone or your Droid or your BlackBerry, your Windows Media device, you'll be able to do that. You can install it on your tablet. Now, of course, those pieces of hardware have a different view usually. It's a smaller screen, and you notice that your PDF documents look a little different on your iPhone than they do on your Mac. But the idea is to be able to retrieve that data, be able to forward that data, share it with someone else. We also look for CRMs to have filing capability that compresses your files. Most CRMs will allow you or allocate a certain amount of limitation on storage. So when you're talking to your CRM provider, ask them when you're uploading documents, number one, is it secure and hopefully encrypted? And number two, are they compressing the file so you're not eating up all your storage? It's like, when you've got one of those storage units out in town, you can only fit so many boxes in there before you have to get another storage unit. And one of the big things that I look for when it comes to documents is we receive about 30% of our overall documents that we store from other clients, prospects, leads, and partners. So if you are going to be receiving attachments, odds are your next step is going to be to store that document on your hard drive. I look for CRM that gives you the ability to go directly from Outlook and store that file associated with the contact in the cloud. So in other words, if Dave Savage sends me an email with a PowerPoint, I can save that to my desktop, but I may prefer to save that to his contact page or to the appointment that we're going to be talking about within the CRM environment, so it's all there and I don't have to go searching for that file later on. Some of the most exciting stuff that we're seeing in document storage or document management today is companies like Box.com, DocuSign, DrawLoop are beginning to rush to this category, and they're building out apps or versions of their core product that are going to work with other CRM platforms. And I'm going to get into that in just a little bit later. For those of you that have ever read Peter Drucker, he was a real famous efficiency consultant from back in the 70s, and he offered his services in Detroit, and they kind of blew him off, and he took his services to some small car dealerships or automobile manufacturers in Japan, and ended up working with all the big ones over there, Nissan, Toyota, and Honda. And Drucker's got some really great sayings about efficiency, so I've featured some of those here today. There's nothing so useless as doing efficiently that which should not be done at all. That gets us into process workflow. Within your CRM environment, you should be able to set up specific process workflows, multiple workflows. Most CRMs will support hundreds of workflows for an enterprise environment. Workflows should be status-driven, allow you to have trigger reminders, and they should ultimately drive the user to get into a proactive environment or a proactive mindset. There's nothing worse for a loan officer than to spend the entire day putting out fires and reacting to requests from their team, from their partners, and from their clients. It's much better to have everything set up into a workflow process that says, the day that a lead becomes a qualified prospect, I start a process that means I'm going to touch that person 26 times over the next 10 days. And we're going to do that through email, we're going to do it with phone, and we're going to do that with requests for additional documentation. We want to be able to automate certain parts of our processes. Now, we can't automate everything. There's such a thing as over-automation or oversaturation of tasks. If you over-automate, you kind of go in the other direction. So we still want to create some things manually. We want to be able to set and make decisions based on status changes and set those things up. But there are other procedures within all business environments, whether you're selling loans or whether you're selling software, that are repetitive and they're redundant. And it's, you know them by heart. You could write them down on a napkin or on your legal pad. And so those things that we can carve out of your process and automate, we're always going to try to do that. And then the most important thing, obviously, is anything worth doing as well is worth tracking. So we want to make sure that as we're going through our processes, and let's just use an example like an ideal loan process that's 75 steps in length. We want to make sure that as we're assigning each of those steps in that loan process to the loan officer, to the transaction coordinator, to the assistant, maybe to the processor, that we're able to track each one of those as they're being checked off. And we're going to be able to see that represented in the reports and in the dashboards or even in the email updates that come out to us and our partners. This is more on that sort of Druckerism, but this is from another pretty reliable source. The first rule of any technology used in business is that automation applied to an efficient operation will magnify the efficiency. And, of course, the opposite is true, too. The second is that automation applied to inefficient operation will magnify the inefficiency. The fifth pillar of CRM technology is dashboards and reports. And the reason I think that this one is so important is this is the culmination or result of everything that came before in the other four pillars. The dashboards and reports show the results of your hard work. They reflect all the tasks that you're completing, all the workflows that are completed, all the appointments that have been scheduled that have turned leads into prospects, prospects into clients, clients that generate revenue and then commissions for you, the partnerships that generate referrals, the referrals that generate revenue for you. So as you're looking at dashboards and reports, these are all going to be as good as the work that you've done prior in your CRM environment, specifically with your tasks. Dashboards and reports, when you're viewing them in your CRM environment, should be user-level specific. And this means that if you're a loan officer looking at your dashboards, you should see your pipeline. You should see the things that are related directly to your work. If you're a branch manager, your viewpoint is at the branch level, so you should be able to see all the loan officers within your branch and the work that's resulting there. And it goes up the chain of command to the region, to the area, and then to senior management where they should be able to see everything. Dashboards and reports are linked to the manual tasks. So the adjustments that happen at the dashboard and reports level, the fundamental element that's driving all of that are your tasks. So as you're completing tasks, whether they're manual or automated, those are actually updating the reports. They'll also be linked to the automated workflows. So if you've got that 70-step process or you have a 20-step process for following up with a lead over a 3-week period of time, each time a new task is completed, whether it's manual or automated, it's updating that report and dashboard. You can also link this to external drivers. There are a lot of CRMs now that are allowing you to allow your third-party partners or your customers to go and log into your system and see where their loan falls in the loan process. And this is the big one. We want to make sure that we're evolving the user from being reactive to becoming proactive. Reports and dashboards allow the loan officer, team leader / manager to be able to look at a condensed representation of what's happening in their business without needing to micromanage and log into every single contact page to view the history, logging into every transaction page to see where it's at. Reports give you that 30,000-foot view of what's happening. You should be able to pinpoint and pick out things from the report that require your immediate attention or that look maybe that they're out of place, and then you can address those issues. So if you look at it from that perspective, it's a huge time saver, and it does allow you to go from being reactive and really managing and being proactive in your business. This is a big one, data sharing. The CRMs that we're seeing that are really at the cutting edge, a lot of them are talking about data sharing at levels that we really are just beginning to see mature. We've talked about data sharing forever like it's existed, but data sharing to a great extent within the CRM environment has been cumbersome, it's been manual, and we're seeing that begin to evolve in a big way. We want to make sure that data sharing between multiple systems is in most cases a scheduled, regular, consistent event. The two ways that we'll share would be a one-way push from one system into the CRM into another system, or in some cases you want the data to go both ways. A good example of that would be a loan origination software system. Depending on how the company might have their LOS system set up, they may want the information to go one way from Encompass or Calyx into the CRM, or they may want it to go both ways. It really depends on how they're set up in an operational fashion. Another way that you can get data shared is the old-fashioned methodology of uploading data. Most of us will use a comma delimited file or a CSV file or what most people call an Excel spreadsheet. So you export the data from one system onto a CSV file, and then you upload it into an import wizard. And what we're beginning to see more and more of now with CRM environment is API development. In fact, a lot of people are prognosticating that we're moving into the age of APIs. We're coming out of the age of apps, and we're moving into the age of APIs. And Mortgage Coach is one of those leaders in the industry that's really an early adopter, coming up with their API system a few years back, and now they're integrated with companies like ours, and you're seeing what they're doing with Optimal Blue that's making the loan officer's life just that much easier. With Mortgage Planner CRM, about a year and a half ago, we went into development of an integration into the Mortgage Coach Edge API. And what that means for our clients, about 25% of our clients use both Edge and our CRM. And they used to have to rekey the information from the CRM into Edge to run your total cost analysis or your rent versus own scenarios. Today, if you go into a client's contact page and you choose the loan file you want to run a TCA on, you simply click on it. It brings up all the information, which was either keyed in or it was imported daily from the loan origination software system. And at the very bottom, you'll see that we feature two buttons. One says Generate Rent versus Own Presentation, and the other one says Generate Edge TCA Presentation. And when one of our clients clicks on that, it will push the data that's required for a TCA from the CRM directly into the Mortgage Coach Edge, and from there the client can change any of the assumptions they need to bring it current, and then email that over with their video so that they can wow their clients using an Edge presentation. Now this has been so dramatic for a number of our clients because they've told us that they can now do, I've heard up to 5, 6 presentations in the time it's taken to do one in the past by doing all the double keying, and it just basically means they can get more high-quality presentations out to those potential borrowers, to those leads, and represent that co-branded relationship with that realtor partner. And of course, you guys have probably heard Jeremy. If you're a long-time users of Mortgage Coach, you know Jeremy is a Mortgage Coach user, and this has been the feedback that we've gotten from Jeremy, and I know he uses the Edge integration piece every day in his business. Dave, would you like to add anything there? This is your baby.
Yeah, well, first of all, really appreciate your investment in our partnership. Really appreciate that your entire team making it easy for Mortgage Coach members to deliver amazing experiences to both borrowers and realtors. I mean, that helps us all fulfill our mission. I guess I just make the point to every loan officer. I mean, when I sit here and take inventory, I've always prided myself on being a pretty efficient, effective person. And when I think of Hal, you know, that statement he opened the whole call up with, which is, we're all the sum total of our daily habits. And I think how some people are just super successful and they have these amazing habits of success, and then some people, they just, you know, they're struggling. They work hard. They get up early. They show up at the office, but, you know, some of their habits aren't serving them. So I just hope this call, I think at the beginning, it really emotionally connected, at least it did with me. And then I hope what Mike is walking you through connects intellectually, and it's just a good review of how are you managing your day-to-day workflow. Are you using your CRM efficiently and effectively? And I know there's been a lot of questions in chat. I am going to tell everybody if we're not going to have time to get into Q&A. So I mean, I want you to call Mike's organization. I want you to go to his website, go through a demo. Just going through a demo with Mike and his team, you'll learn something. You will not only learn about his product, you'll learn how to implement and execute your CRM strategies at a higher level. So that's what I have to say.
Awesome. I've got about 5 minutes left, Dave. I think I'll just try to jam through a couple more of these points, and we'll I was right about here. You know, the seventh pillar for me is, and this is going to sound obvious, but it's not included in all CRM environments, but the primary ways that we get requests as business professionals is through our phone. People call us, or they email us. Now, even if you're using social media or lead generation platforms, the way you usually see that end result is you're going to see that in your inbox somehow as a reminder. It calls your attention. And your inbox is both on your computer as well as on your mobile device. So for me, the driver in the PC and Mac environment is Microsoft Outlook. That's still the largest business email system we use, followed maybe in a distant second by Gmail. So your interaction in your CRM environment needs to be closely tied to Outlook. It should sync contacts. It should sync calendar. The calendar in your Outlook account should be the same as your CRM environment. It should be ubiquitous. When you're looking at your phone, your tablet, your desktop, all of your schedules should be the same. And you should be able to transfer emails from your inbox directly into your CRM along with those attachments. This is so that you can keep a record of those requests, and you can put that person on a drip marketing campaign in your CRM or put them on a definable workflow so that you don't let anything slip through the cracks. You should also be able to review relevant account data from that particular Outlook API. And we recommend that you do not synchronize your task. You should have one task list. You should work in either in Outlook or in your CRM, but don't have two task lists because one task list is hard enough to keep up with. I'm going to skip ahead. Three key differentiators, and I think I can bust through these pretty quick, Dave, and then I'll have to jump off. Three key differentiators when you're looking at CRM technology is choosing a platform that has a documented security plan. You guys know as well as I do what we deal with compliance in the mortgage industry, and you want to make sure that your database is protected. I think a cloud-based platform is an intelligent choice today because that's where we're going. The cloud is here to stay. Even Microsoft's adopted in the cloud. A multi-tenant platform is my preference. That's basically a technical term that says that there's one instance of software for multiple customers, meaning you don't have to worry about upgrades. They happen for you behind the scenes. The system should be flexible, and especially with multi-tenant platforms, you have a core technology, and then you're able to make modifications within the technology but not change the code. And then ultimately you want a company that's constantly evolving, that has at least a 100-year plan for their technology, and they want to be so far ahead of the game that you could really never think about leaving them. Your platform should be app-tractive. This is the age of apps right now. We're coming into the age of APIs, and companies like Oracle and Salesforce are using app-tractivity as a huge differentiator because they're now recruiting companies into their platform environment. I'll give you an example. When we started building apps for Salesforce.com 8 years ago, we were one of the first 100 apps, one of the first 3 financial services apps, and today there are over 30,000 apps and growing. And that universe of apps and potential feature sets is just enormous. You want to be able to compare the big CRMs and what they're doing to the mom and pops that you see, so you can really differentiate, what great CRM can do for you and what, a company that sends out, automated emails or postcards on your behalf. There's a big differentiation between those two. Support is huge. 24/7 online resources. I believe that the best technology support should be U.S.-based, English speakers. They should be empathetic, friendly, and extremely knowledgeable. I'm a purist. I believe that CRM companies can best serve their industries by being niche specific. I don't believe guys that build CRMs for plumbers should be building CRMs for loan officers. So I encourage you to take a look at CRM providers that are really, really deep in the niche. They should have a master knowledge of the space that comes along with that being in the niche. They should be able to speak technology as well as they do mortgage. And I believe that if you really drill down and you want to ask a differentiation between one CRM company and another, is make sure they have a total offering, and make sure that company that's selling you that product uses the same CRM they're trying to sell you. And once again, to be repetitive, they only work with companies within the niche. This will make your phone calls with support more targeted. They'll be able to not just answer questions, but give you best practices and scenarios that have worked for other types of clients. And of course, this is all prognostication. I call this the future product roadmap. And I've always believed, being in the technology space, that the best way to predict the future is to go out there and create it. Thank you for your time today, guys. Dave, I'll give it back to you, And if you have any questions, I put some information up on the screen. We offer a free trial with our product. If you're interested in CRM, just go to our website or check us out on Dave's Facebook page at Mortgage Coach. I put a link up there. Give us a call, and we'll set up a free trial for you. Thanks, Dave. I appreciate it.
Got it. So, guys, I have Mike's website on my screen right now. You'll notice there's a button down there. It says free trial. Just going through the free trial will be a learning experience. I hope everybody felt that we didn't sell CRM here. We trained you on what is the key elements to do CRM. I want to close today's call with what I think are some pretty important thoughts and some pretty important reminders. And this is a reminder. Change is happening. Rates are going up. The question is when. Challenge is coming. I don't believe that there are macro trends in the industry that are going to make our job as loan officers easier over the next 6 months, 1 year. And teaching matters now more than ever. So there's been some big news recently. Zillow acquired Trulia, and I've read a number of blog posts where they're actually calling it CTR. That's actually this new medium of online resources for home buyers. And so, here's how I net it out, is that, this ZTR effect, let's call it, has never made it easier for buyers, and it's never given more transparency. Now, with that, the concept of being a confident decision provider, being an advisor, has never been more valuable. So I was watching Steve Harney's, monthly video recently, which I know a lot of you subscribe to, and I just thought he netted this out really well. Agents are overwhelmed, buyers are overwhelmed. There's never been more information than we've had before. That's a fact. I don't think anybody can debate it. Here's another fact, is that when we look at who's going to be buying a home over the next 12 months, over 50% or 50% of it are under the age of 44. 32% are under the age of 34. So we've got a whole new demographic coming into the market. And guys, this is not 5 years from now. This is today. So how we deliver advice needs to change. And when you look at what's happening from a macro trend over the next 5 years, the big opportunity is serving the under 34 demographic. So I've got Steve Harney coming on. We've scheduled an interview on August 28th, 11 o'clock Pacific. So, hey, everybody in this coaching call, it's going to be a double dip that day. But this is what I think is the best day, best time. We're going to be talking about how to deliver insight in a modern way at open houses. We're going to talk about how to deliver insight and value at a real estate office, in a lunch and learn, in a restaurant, out in the field where you're connecting with realtors and borrowers. How should loan officers and realtors be insight providers, be confident decision leaders? So, again, you all know this. I don't believe in doing things the way we used to do it. This is an old way to deliver insight. There's a better way to deliver confident decisions. There's a better way of delivering transparency. And everybody on this call, we share this belief, we share this value. I hope between Hal today, really giving you some emotional content around creating new habits, Mike bringing in the how-tos on how to manage your day with technology and CRM, you're going to do better. So I want to close this call with this thought. When you think of the value that you as a mortgage coach bring to a realtor, you have the value of helping them with their buyer conversion. You have the value of being a more effective partner, whether it's through your use of CRM and Mortgage Coach. You're part of this great community. You have the value and an edge with the under 40 buyer, which, by the way, realtors like that. You can drive a better sales experience. So I hope everybody, you guys will sharpen your sword. You'll take action on this call. At Mortgage Coach, we power confident decisions. We are not doing the status quo. And these are just great reminders. So I want to give a push to everybody. We posted this on our Facebook page. Please share it with others in your branch. Share it with others in your organization. Any loan officer that you care about. Help drive this mission that we're on, total cost transparency, total value. So every Tuesday, we're doing this call. Every Thursday, that's 2 days from now, Thursday morning, getting into the details. And if you're brand new to this community, every Friday at 9 o'clock. Again, reminders, these quick hits, there's a what do we call it, a playlist in our YouTube page. So we are adding quick hits. I think there was a good quick hit on today's call. Make sure you're checking those out. And a huge thank you to both Hal and Mike for for all the value that they brought in today's call. Let me know what you thought about today's call. We are at the top of the hour, so I am going to wrap it up. Have an awesome week. We'll see you next week, same time, same place, new great leaders. Take care, everybody.